new this year, and I've had a great time getting started working with them and coming up with next directions for NextGen. So I'll let them all introduce themselves briefly now, and you'll hear more from them later today.
Hello everyone, my name is Maiwa and I'm a third-year PhD student in chemical engineering at the University of Connecticut, and I'm the current vice chair for this year.
Hi everyone, my name is Neha Sharma and I'm a postdoctoral scholar at Stanford University, and this is my first year at NLC, and I'm currently leading the role of a programming director, and I'll talk about more on this role lately in the presentation.
Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan. I'm a second-year PhD student in environmental engineering at UC Berkeley, and I will be taking on the role as diversity liaison for this next upcoming year.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So we're the NLC, and we will be representing all NextGen members in discussions with NAWI leadership concerning research, outreach, academic progress, and career opportunities. We seek to promote diversity and ensure equal opportunity and inclusion for all of our members. And our contact information is on the NextGen's portal in the NAWI community website, and we encourage any of you to reach out to us if you have ideas, questions, concerns, or just to chat, because we really hope that one of your main takeaways from today's session is that NextGen is for you, and we really are excited to connect with you and hear from you. So NextGen is for you, but what exactly is NextGen if you're not familiar, and how can you take full advantage of it? So NextGen is a program within NAWI which seeks to foster community amongst early career NAWI affiliated individuals and to serve as a bridge between different sectors of the Alliance. Our purpose is to support the professional development of early career members across NAWI, and our mission is to cultivate rising water professionals to enable them to drive future research and development in the water energy sector. In working closely with our members to bring them the kind of activities that they want, NextGen strives for a dynamic take on career development with a focus on finding ways to create community and collaboration. We hope to support personal and professional development and to create a platform for conversations surrounding diversity, equity, inclusion, and access within the water sector. Our core aims and goals are to first unite early career members of the NAWI Alliance, working towards creating a nationwide community of rising water energy innovators. We want to foster the principles of diversity and inclusion through tailored initiatives developed by us, the NLC, and to accelerate the professional development of NextGen memberships through mentorship, academic and industrial partnerships, interinstitutional research, and professional development resources and events, to name a few. And finally, we want to establish lines of communication with the NAWI leadership regarding all of the developmental needs of the future workforce. So we've worked towards our mission over the last few years to establish an ever-growing list of programming to serve our NextGen community. We really value your event attendance and feedback and encourage you to join our network if you haven't already, so you can be a part of this conversation. By becoming a NextGen member, you'll get invites to all of our events and can have access to our ever-expanding virtual network. Our membership is open to early career individuals working for a NAWI Alliance affiliate or holding an individual NAWI Alliance membership. We're broadly defining early career as undergraduates, graduate students, whether it be PhD or master's students, postdocs, and new employees with roughly less than 10 years of experience. You can sign up to join via our website link. Sorry, I forgot to pop in the link there, but I will add it to the chat later. Or you can email any of us. And if you're unsure if NextGen is for you, don't hesitate to ask us. We'd be happy to chat more offline with you. Once you're a member, you can tune into any of our events and programs. Our current core events are our recurring career panels, our blog series, and most recently, our mentorship program, which I'll let my colleagues talk to you more about soon. Furthermore, each year, we've been striving to pilot a new program based on our NextGen community interests and feedback, so stay tuned for what's next. And now I'll pass it on to Neha to talk a little bit more about our career channels.
Yeah, thanks, Kamilet. So basically, as a programming director, I plan to arrange NextGen career panel discussions. And with this platform, we aim to support the needs of the early career researchers by organizing virtual workshops and panel discussions. With this event, our aim is to help the young minds navigate to the career opportunities and national career opportunities available after graduate school, including academia, industry, startup, or as a scientist in national lab. Currently, we plan to organize at least one event per quarter, and we have had many successful events in the past. And as you can see, we had some panel discussions focusing on early career professors so as to guide us to prepare the job application and tenure track process. We have also set up a startup building workshops where we discussed about how to build a company, commercializing new technologies, and transitioning from graduate school to industry. We also had interactions with international scholars so that to understand what are the visa requirements and pathways to find employment in the US after graduation. And as you can see, we have an event planned later in summer, that is on July 12th, to have interactions with early career researchers in academia and industry. We have included Dr. Bekal from University of Connecticut. We have Dr. Haley White, who is working as a water research specialist in HDR, and then Dr. Lauren Pincus, who is a postdoctoral scholar at Princeton University. And we plan to have these interactions so that we can help postdocs as well as graduate students to help find jobs in academia or industries. So please join us, tune in to see what our panelists want to share. Thank you.
And so I'll talk about the NAWI Dispatch Spotlight blog series. So this series is an initiative started by the NAWI NextGen Leadership Council with 3 goals in mind, and which are: 1, to highlight what our community members are up to in terms of their research and career life. 2, to give outstanding NextGen members the opportunity to work with writing professionals to showcase their stories, which can also help to motivate other NextGen members. 3, to create a blog where the target audience are faculty, graduate students, and industry professionals engaged in water research. So each blog post or series will highlight a NextGen member and showcase their story. Some of the past editions of the blog series include 1, Catching Fire in Water by Dr. Apita Idia, where she talked about how our one-of-a-kind membranes could help recover water, fertilizers, and gold from wastewater and seawater. Another past edition was Sesame Street Isn't Just for Kids by Dr. Haley White, where she talked about how she shrugged off missteps to help tackle the water crisis. Another was by Emily Kramer, a graduate student at UC Berkeley, and she talked about how she's dedicating her life to cleaning up contaminants. And lastly, Kevin Clark, a graduate student also at UC Berkeley, he talked about turning wastewater into a resource. So you can check out all of these past editions on the NAWI blog post. And now I'll pass the mic to Jonathan.
All right, so our mentorship program is our newest NextGen programming. We ran a pilot round earlier this year from January to April, where we grouped mentors and mentees based on general interest and provided them with resources to start a dialogue around mentorship strategies. The goal of this mentorship program is to provide a platform that leverages the NAWI Alliance members' diverse experience and rich expertise to foster connections across the NAWI Alliance and across career field levels, empower young professionals to challenge each other and learn from each other, and cultivate relationships for professional and personal growth. With this program, we hope to spark ongoing conversations around mentorship and its importance at every stage in one's career. In addition, we hope that an emphasis on mentorship can help broaden our impact and reach, encouraging our diverse group of next gens to envision ways in which they can thrive as they begin their careers in the water field. Mentorship can exist in many different forms, so we intentionally left this first phase of our program open-ended to allow for mentor-mentee groups to tailor their experience to their unique needs, given each of their career trajectories. We hope that even after the close of this program, mentors and mentees can continue to learn from one another and deepen their personal connections across the Alliance. With that, I'll now pass it over to Scarlett to dive into the feedback from program participants and to introduce our speakers.
Thanks, everyone. So we got lots of good feedback from participants in this first round of our mentorship program, which was very helpful for us to understand our NextGen community needs and goals and figure out how we can better structure and support mentorship through this program and through other initiatives moving forward. So I'd like to highlight some specifics here. We had 23 participants this semester with expertise in a wide array of topics in water innovation, and overall program satisfaction was reported to be quite high. We were told that most groups met on a monthly basis, with some meeting bi-weekly or even weekly to check in. And these groups brought together individuals from across academia and industry, ranging from early undergraduates to experienced CEOs. Mentor-mentees were placed in groups of 2 to 3 based on general career interest indicated on the initial application form. One interesting element that we found as we worked on this initial placement was the overlap between those seeking mentor versus mentee roles, with both early career students and experienced professionals alike being interested sometimes in both performing as a mentee or a mentor. To us, this illustrates the dynamic nature of mentorship structure and relationships, emphasizing how, whether formally or informally, most of us are likely to find ourselves operating both as a mentee and a mentor for others, sometimes simultaneously over the course of our careers. And feedback highlighted that with this, reflecting on what wants from each experience like this going in can help guide the discussion and allow both parties to learn from one another. For this pilot, we simply provided initial documents surrounding mentorship strategy and then left the structure flexible to allow individual groups to cultivate their own experience. Seeing the variety of ways that each group approached their tasks and structured their working relationships provided us with a deeper understanding of successful mentorship practices. And on the whole, we found that one of the things that worked best, regardless of the structure, was active communication around goal setting. Some groups chose more of an informal networking or advice strategy, and some chose to develop structured deliverables and format each discussion around the goal of that month, whether it be a CV workshop, fundraising discussions, networking strategies and skills, or topics surrounding work-life balance or time management. Furthermore, while some groups had more of a typical mentor to mentee working relationship with clear role distinctions, other groups found themselves in more of a peer-to-peer mentorship space. For future program rounds, we hope to incorporate and encourage specifics that worked best in each of these groups. We envision the opportunity for people to apply to join groups of various sizes with pre-discussed structures from the array presented here. As our program evolves, we're excited to dive further into this conversation about what exactly mentorship is and how we can all play active roles therein to support one another. We intend to launch a second larger round of our mentorship program this fall after incorporating feedback from our participants in the pilot program, as well as further feedback from you after today if you haven't. We have found already that there is strong interest in a future round and specific interest in possible in-person or regional components if that turns out to be practical, as well as a desire to choose from options for peer support versus formal mentor-mentee structure. We plan to have more active pairing during the application to optimize group goals and to combine people with similar intentions to allow for the structure to be as open-ended or formal as is interesting to each participant. We found some people enjoy these open-ended interactions and the associated flexibility, while some want more structure imposed from the NLC. So we hope to incorporate both and plan to have midway check-ins to determine if any groups need any restructuring or additional support from us. We encourage you to apply to join the NextGen mentorship program round and to reach out to us with any questions or further feedback that you might have after today. So now I'd like to start to pivot towards our panelists. To dive further into a discussion about this dynamic nature of mentorship, we've chosen to highlight the experience of a few participants from our pilot round of the mentorship program, including one person taking on more of a formal mentor role, one with more of a typical mentee role, and 2 members from a peer-to-peer mentorship group. We hope this discussion can lend further insight into our program and showcase some of the inspiring individuals that you as a NextGen member can have the opportunity to connect with and learn from if you join future rounds of our program. Each of our speakers that you'll hear from today has seen great successes in their academic or career endeavors, and they can speak to how they've continued to learn and grow during the process. They can provide their take on the importance of membership, and they can share their experience within this program. So I'll take a couple minutes to allow for our speakers to be spotlighted, and then once they are, give them each an opportunity to introduce themselves, and we can start taking questions in the beginning of the session. I'm not the one in charge of spotlighting, so I don't know how to tell once all the spotlighting is fully finished, but once it is, we can get started. Is everyone able to see our participant panel now? I think because I have it in presenter view, it also helps.
I do have all 4 spotlighted.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much. So I'll let each speaker take a moment to introduce themselves, just their role, what they're working on, and then jump in.
So if you'd
Tanya,
like, I
yeah.
can go for, sorry. That was bound to happen. So I'm Tanya Soleil, CEO and president of Blue Desal, a sustainable wave-powered desalination pod developer out of South Salito, California. And I signed up as a mentee because I was interested in learning more about the space. I was, it's my first desalination water startup, and ended up being placed in the group for peers with Juan and a third person. So Juan, if you want to go next, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Tanya. I'm Juan Bravin. I'm CEO and co-founder of Kairos Technologies. Kairos is a Las Vegas-based startup developing physics-based water treatment solutions. And I joined the program also with the idea of being a mentee, and we ended up working with Tanya and Margaret Lamley from Clovis Water as a peer support group in which we had really nice experiences, and I can tell you more after we finish the introductions. So I pass it to Aryan.
Hi, I'm Aryan Edalat. I am co-founder and CEO of Active Membranes. We make anti-scaling and anti-fouling electrically conducting membranes. And I signed up as a mentor. I was lucky to get teamed up with a gentleman called Artinder Minassian. He has a very interesting invention that reduces the footprint and power consumption of standard, air conditioning systems. And we had a lot of fun. We met on a weekly basis. I learned a lot from him. I tried to help him put together his investment pitch and investment case. And I think there's always amazing experience as well. Nice meeting you all.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mono. I'm from UC Berkeley, and I was a final year PhD student when I signed up for the mentorship program. So my PhD study focused on using nanomaterials membrane for water treatment, generally looking at the physical, like the nanostructure and how well it's removing heavy metals. And the main reason I signed up for the mentorship program is trying to figure out like what my next step is and seek for some suggestions from the mentors.
Thank you so much for taking time to introduce yourself and also for taking the time to chat with us. As we start diving into questions, we will be monitoring the chat. So we encourage audience members to chime in with their questions as they arise, or you can feel free to raise your hand and speak your question yourself. Begin, I'd just like to ask our panelists, have you ever participated in a structured mentorship program before? And if so, how did that shape your goals and expectations going? We can just go in the same order of introductions unless anyone is excited to jump into.
I can take the word if you want. Like being CEO of Kairos, well, I have participated in 2 accelerators, the Cleantech Open Accelerator and the Valley Ventures Accelerator program, in which we were paired with mentors that provide us a lot of expertise and really good insights on how to grow and scale up our startups. What I found really good about this program of NAWI is that in these other accelerators, I connected with mentors that despite them having a really strong background in business development, in growing startups and all that, they weren't super familiar with the water industry and the challenges that water startups are facing. So connecting with peers under this NAWI mentorship program was really nice because we were all like in the same sauce and we were like seeing the same type of challenges and problems, because it's not the same as like if we get matched with a mentor that knows about like software development or hardware development outside the water industry. The water industry has certain challenges that are not so common in other industries. And well, by forming this peer support group, I think that we were able to share our challenges and get insights from people that are like in this and seeing the same type of problems that I do in developing my company.
And I would second that, as having worked with Juan and Margaret, in that, I mean, I've had informal mentors before, not through an organized program, but they tend to be more of a generalist type of mentorship, as Juan described. And so the value here was industry specific, which was really why I signed up. I expected that, and it delivered. And so we could also share resources, guidelines, experiences. And I think that was, at least for me, very helpful. But I think we've all agreed to, if not meet as often as we did through the formal program, but to continue to meet. So I think it was successful for all three of us.
Yeah, I haven't, again, I haven't been in any structured mentorship program, but I have been lucky enough throughout career. I'm an engineer, essentially, 20 years in desalination. And over the last 5 or 6 years, I got into the world of water startups and trying to form companies and commercialize and scale them and so on and so forth. But it's important. And I've had mentors. I have business mentors. I had technical mentors and whatever. But it's very difficult to find that all in one individual and one program and one person, as you all mentioned, because while there are some similarities in doing in a startup and the scaling up in the startup, there are very specific nuances into forming a company and developing and scaling up a company in the desalination and water reuse and water treatment sector, because mainly the dynamics of your clients, the dynamics of whoever you're going to end up selling your product to are a little bit different than folks that are, for example, developing software and whatnot. So I knew that, and I had that shortage. And what I tried to do in my interactions with the gentleman that I was working with was to try to give him, help him through his pitch development and all of that, but within a specific need to cater to an environment where people at the back end, the receiving end, and whether it be the investors or whatnot, are water people. So that water specific highlights is something that I try to help with over the past few months with this individual, because that was a lack that I experienced going into this, and I was trying to sort of bridge that gap for the program. And I think it's very important for anybody who get into this to find people that have experience in water sector, because there are some nuances there, and especially desalination, because there are some nuances that everybody had to learn in a hard way. So, getting those type of advice, getting those type of insights are very valuable.
So I have participated in a mentorship held by the NAMS, the North America Membrane Society Conference. And the format is quite similar to this one, actually. So we get connected by a mentor from the industry. I think for that program, many mentors are from the industry than from the academia. And we talk about personal and career goals development. And most of the mentees are PhD students, and also maybe final year or in the later stage of their PhD. So we got introduced to how people work in industry look like, and how to seek for jobs, those kind of things. And we also talk about our short-term and long-term goals, and how can we analyze our CV to fit in to achieve our goals. Yeah.
Thank you all so much for that. So building off what some of you already mentioned a little bit, you talked to your previous experience with mentorship programs. Can you tell me a little bit more about your previous relationship with mentorship and the idea of mentorship and what you see as the importance both of seeking mentorship and of mentoring others at various stages in your career.
Yeah, I'll kick off. So basically you seek advice, whether it's a mentor or whatnot, for the knowledge gap that you feel that you have, right? And it's important to diversify that advice group and that mentorship group, because you know, I, for example, had very little. I was always struggled with legal structure. So finding somebody that can advise me on nuances of, you know, investment deals and how to talk to investors and whatnot has always been very important to me. Normally, if you're hiring a lawyer, you have to pay a lot of money for that. So finding somebody that can advise you, spend their time graciously to advise you, that's very important. And I think find people that you think have made the mistakes and they have the good faith and good intention of trying to help you from their own experience, not to make those mistakes, or if you're going to do them, it would be at a lesser cost. There has been lack of this mentorship throughout my career meant that whenever I didn't have it, I had to learn it the hard way. So look at it in a way that you're open to what they're going to say. Sometimes the advice that people are going to give you are very tough pills to swallow. So you gotta be open-minded, and you gotta be very strategic about the people that you choose as your advisors or as your mentors. And those advice and those interactions are meant to fill up a huge gaps to avoid you making the mistakes that you don't want to make. And you know, if you have a great idea, you want to commercialize that idea, or even if you're not into starting in a startup and you just want to get into a career, finding the right path on this requires a lot of advice and a lot of experience that you can tap into through these advisory groups. And you know, they will help you. They save you years, and then they save you a lot of money potentially. So finding that right individual or individuals has to be very strategic and you have to have a great knowledge of yourself and what you think you can help. You need help from. That's my point of view, and that's why these programs help a lot, because there are people here that really want to help, and they just share their experience and then make sure that you know you benefit.
I
To
can.
add,
Sorry.
go Mona.
Okay. Yeah. So I think there are like two main points I want to participate in the mentorship program. I guess like one is, as a PhD student, the mentor that you closely connect with is your advisor, and you didn't get like other perspective as a mentor. So like being in the program and connecting with others really give you some new perspectives on like what you're doing now and what you're going to do in the future. And second, like when I was preparing for those meetings and like plan for the next meeting, like what we're going to talk about, it really helped me to give me some time to sit down and think about what I want to do and how to achieve my goals. Especially, it is very challenging for a person like at the PhD transitional stage where you are still on the progress on your next career goals. So I think those 2 points are the main reason I like this mentorship program, and I do want to participate more in the future. Yeah, sorry, Juan, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I just wanted like to add a few comments based on what Arian said, that humanity has prospered based on the fact that it has shared knowledge. Yes, So basically, that's one of the most important things, sharing knowledge and collaborating, and that's what is going to make us thrive as a whole, because I think that like with my company, for example, I have developed a couple pieces of the puzzle, but after like talking with Margaret or with Tanya, they had another pieces of the puzzle. And then how we can fit all those together, and like basically it's the power of collaboration, it's the power of knowledge, is the power of combining our efforts, what we push us forward at a faster pace. And nowadays we're seeing like great challenges, that need really large solutions, and they need the work of a lot of people to be put in action, in collaboration, in synergy, and in an organized fashion. And by connecting with mentors and people that is willing to share their knowledge is a great idea. And if you want to participate as a mentor, like sharing your knowledge, like teaching is the best way of learning as well. So that's why I would like to highlight this type of programs were amazing. I'm planning to continue working on this program as we move forward. And well, I'm like huge kudos to the organizers of the mentorship program, because I think that like, well, as the NAWI is an alliance, and an alliance is a group of people that share a common goal and that pursue a goal. Like if we can create like smaller alliances within the great structure of NAWI, so companies can collaborate, so people can learn from the other, and so we can like move faster, avoiding mistakes because we have gotten that knowledge that somebody else has shared with us. Well, I think that that's the way to go, and that's how we are going to win this battle of like taking care of all the water problems that we have created in the world.
And so I'll kind of just jump off of that point. I think from my prior experience in business and other organizations and groups that do organize mentorship, they deliberately try not to pair same industry type companies, because there's a concern that they're going to be competitors or something. But I think really this space, even though it seems small from the outside, water is huge. And so like Juan said, even though, even when I first got placed in the group, I was like, wait a minute, am I being placed with my competitors kind of thing? And then realizing, no, these are people who actually contribute and are part of a bigger picture. So I think it's also fundamentally understanding, again, the fact that the water space is as huge as it is, has as many components, they're the pieces. And even I would say, because of the fact that it's more of a climate green technology, the willingness to cooperate is much greater. And I found that not only in this mentorship program, but in other activities that I've undertaken in the last 2 years since I founded Blue Desal. And it's, one of the earliest lessons I learned in business, I worked at Intel, and they had their own word that they had coined, so to say, and the word was co-opetition. And it came from competition and cooperate. And the reason was because at the time, Intel's largest competitor was IBM, and Intel's largest collaborator was IBM. So they had to coin a word to describe the relationship that they had with IBM, because they both competed and cooperated. And I think that that's something that in mentorship, brings it out, and in the water space is of particular importance.
Thank you so much, all, for sharing that insight. I think that's really interesting, the overlap between mentorship, collaboration, competition, and just all the different takes on this. So I'm glad that on the whole, it sounds like you all had a fulfilling experience learning on that front. I'd also like to now ask specifically if you had any personal goals for yourself, either as a mentor or a mentee, or both specific goals going in, and how you worked with your group or with yourself on how you approached this in order to achieve these goals.
Yeah, again, I'm sorry, guys, if whoever wants to jump in, I'm not trying to steal away the discussion, but I wanted my main thing was a couple of things. I mean, one, that was a selfish reason. There is, especially if you're running at a startup, finding passionate people, finding talent, finding folks with great attitude is very, very, very challenging. So I wanted to broaden my my horizon in that department and see if there's somebody out there that I think would be a good addition to our team. That was one of the other. And the other thing is that you get to hear so many great people, so many passionate people, so many people with fantastic ideas that are useful to the industry as a whole. I mean, going back to that competition, I think competition is absolutely necessary and very healthy for water industry, or any industry for that matter. And you know, you have to encourage it as opposed to trying to shy away from it. And finding people that are passionate about what they're doing and they have some fantastic ideas and they just need a little bit of help bring it into an industrial scale. That's another thing that I continue to pursue here. The individual that I work with has a fantastic invention, has a fantastic idea. He's a very brilliant person. At minimum, I found a great friend. And but other than that, you know, I understood what he's doing, and it was very inspiring. And I thought that, you know, there may be ways to collaborate in the future and so on and so forth. So as a mentor or even as a mentee, you get a lot, you enrich yourself with all of these network, with all of these experiences, and the time that you're spending on it is well worth it. So I like to continue with this. I'd like to, you know, as means of networking, as means of hearing brilliant people with brilliant ideas, what they're doing and how they want to do it, and actually help them to bring their break their ideas into or careers into, because we do have a couple of things. There's a lot of noise in the water industry, but sometimes very few ideas, genuinely good ideas. And there's also a lack of talent. And that talent has to be cultivated and identified and given a chance to prove itself. And I think programs such as this are very helpful in that regard. Go ahead.
Okay, I can take the word. If nobody else wants to speak. Ladies, Tanya, Monon. Okay. Basically, when I joined the program, I don't know, I take like self-improvement quite seriously. And every day I like try to do something to make me better or to make somebody close to me better. So, and a rising tide lifts all boats. And by joining this program, the goal was to learn from people and to be able to provide value to other people. And by doing that, like maximize my knowledge and expand my network. And I think that when it comes like to the dynamics that we put on the meetings with Tanya and Margaret, it was really nice because we acted like a peer support group, but also like an accountability group. So we share like, this is something that I didn't even do with my co-founder of like setting up goals and trying to accomplish them before the next meeting. So it's nice to have some people that do not know you and to whom you're not going to be able to say, okay, I didn't do it, you know. To my co-founder, I can say that to him. I have said that many times, but this was like more serious, and I wanted to actually go to the meeting saying I was able to fulfill the goals that I set up for the next meeting. So I think that those were like my main takeaways from this mentorship program.
And so I'll kind of second that. I mean, I think that's one of the things that as a peer group, we did really well. It kind of came from Juan, but setting goals and deliverables and you know, it seems so silly, you know, we're supposed to be our own motivators, but it's amazing how when you share it with a couple of other people and you know, okay, I mean, these are self-identified goals, so you don't set a goal you don't expect to be able to make, but nonetheless, sometimes things happen, or nonetheless, sometimes you get sidetracked, and then, you know, as the meeting comes up, you're like, wait a minute, I gotta, you know, work on that deliverable. So it becomes an incentive. And I think that, you know, again, for us, it worked really well. And I strongly recommend it. You know, if you can't do it through a third person or a peer group, you know, find your own mechanism for goal setting and on a timely basis, because startups, the one thing they don't have is time. And so, you know, time and the issues that we're dealing with in water are, you know, I mean, for my co-founder, that was exactly it. He'd been tinkering with the technology, a really, really interesting technology. And I said, you know, this is really monumental. Stop tinkering. Let's formalize this. Let's make this into a business. And here we are 2 years later. But it can be a very good, you know, for people looking for career decisions or incentives, I can also see where it would provide tremendous value in that sense.
Yeah, I just want to say I totally agree on both of you, what both of you said. Like time, like giving yourself more time to figure out your goals is the main takeaway from the mentorship. And I think it also helped me to make my goals clearer, because I do have like a vague long-term goals, but you know, you can't have just one big goal without knowing what to do in the middle. So what we did is we share our CV and check what we have done and like how they can contribute to our final goal. And we list the things we want to add to our CV so that those will become our short-term goals. So there will be like in 2 to 3 years, what we want to achieve and how they can contribute to our final goal. So that's very, very helpful. And while we're discussing our CVs or how to structure our CVs, I got very like interesting advices that I haven't heard or think about before, such as like as a researcher, we should not only think about like lab works or publications, but also branding and visibility, like how to make our work to be known to other people so that we can get more collaborations and more discussions. So those kind of things was really helpful when I participate in the program. Yeah.
Thanks. That's all really great to hear. I'd also love to ask if there's any specific pieces of insight that you gained in this experience that will affect your perspective on your career or how you operate, how you seek out mentorship moving forwards.
Well, I'll jump in on this one. One of the things that we discussed with the peer group discussion was that if it really is peer group and we were to continue it, which we are interested in doing it, probably a slightly larger group, 5 to 7. I mean, we're not looking at 100 either. That doesn't work. But, you know, it's not that one-on-one where you're being very specific as to tasks. But I think that the sharing, if the organization is going to start to create some, you know, organized peer groups, not mentor-mentee, to make those peer groups slightly larger, more like 5 to 7 people. And I'm going to sign off with these last words, and I really appreciate everyone, but I do need to go. But thank you very much for organizing, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Thank you so much for taking time to participate. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that for the next, for the next season, maybe a little bit more diving questions in what people trying to get out of this program. There are some people that are interested that are, early founders of a very early stage startups that want essentially some help with developing their ideas. So, and that there may be other people who are willing to help and matching those people. There are folks that basically want to figure out what's the best career path for them, and there are other people on the other end that might be able to help them, and making those matching a little bit more systematic and more specific by having people explain more what they're trying to get out of it prior to joining the program. That would be you're already doing that, but making it a little bit more specific so you can pair the right people together even more efficiently. That would be my own feedback.
I can let me think. So I think the most interesting or like most thing I like of my experience is that I got connected to people like both mentor and mentees at different career stage. So I kind of learned a lot from them by seeing like how I will look like in the future. So that's the most interesting experience I got from the mentorship, because for the other mentorship I participated, it's usually like one mentor that is like a level above you and like other mentees are at the same level. But like with mentees also at different stages, when they're doing some discussions, you kind of learn a lot on how this job will be when you enter the job market.
And I also think Jonathan has his hand raised for a question. So if you want to jump in there and ask, and then we'll probably start winding down the panel part as we talk about next steps.
Okay, great. Thank you all so much for sharing your insight. It's been so great hearing it all. I have a question about how do you go about either developing a client base once you're further along into industry, or just like broadening your network when you're getting started, like outside of this mentorship program?
Few things. I mean, first of all, attending industry events is very important, but not any industry event. So you got to be, because it costs money, so you have to be judicious about it. Find industry events that are tailor-made to your client base that you're trying to make, for example. And there's many of them around throughout the year, both here in the US and internationally. So find the right event and choose maybe 3 or 4 or 5, whatever your budget allows, and go to those events. And those are fantastic opportunities for networking. It would help if you have something to present at these conferences and seminars, because that gets you a little bit more spotlight. And it also gives you something to discuss with potential people who see your solution as a solution to their problems. That's one thing. And the other thing is support groups such as this are very helpful, because if you come to me or I come to you and I have a solution that you may not find useful, but I know somebody who may. That's how capillary networking works. And we'll make the recommendations, go on and so on, and then find your ways around it, because everybody knows everybody, and there's only 6 degrees of separation between any human beings in the world. That's what they say, and I think it's right. Maybe sometimes less. So yeah, finding the events that you go to and finding support groups that can support you are a great early the first steps towards getting to the.
Well, to add to that, yeah, I haven't participated much in events because I'm based on the other side of the world. I'm based in Mendoza, Argentina, but yeah, I've been like mainly getting customers through connections, making connections on LinkedIn, through participating in groups on LinkedIn of people that are like farmers association, CA girls, something like that, that is related to the line of products that I'm trying to commercialize. And then also when you have the chance to create a good relationship with somebody within the network, asking for soft intros has been a really useful way to connect to other people, because basically when it's not the same like cold calling or cold messaging on LinkedIn, than when somebody says, look, this is Juan, I've been working with him for a few months, his machines work, and I think that it could provide value for you. So again, like I started like mainly on LinkedIn, on forums or community forums. And then once that I got a good, I established a good relationship with somebody within that industry, to use them as channel to create more connections and to grow a little bit more organically.
Thank you so much. If anyone else has anything else to add about anything we've discussed, feel free to do so. If not, I'll start wrapping up this portion. Thank you.
I would just add that, you know, if, for 2 seconds, that find high impact marketing events. High impact. So if there's a prize that you think you can compete for, if there's a competitive pitch situation that you can put yourself out there. So you have to opt for visibility, and finding these high impact marketing events or high impact marketing opportunities, such as, prizes, competitions. These kind of things are very helpful, just to go out there, present your ideas, and make sure that, a lot more people see you, by the noise that you're going to make, by the good noise that you're going to make.
And I also heard Twitter is very helpful as well. As lots of professors are on Twitter as well.
LinkedIn is very helpful. LinkedIn, in our sector especially. LinkedIn is
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been great to hear your insight on mentorship, your experience with our mentorship program, and also just some insight into your career paths broadly. I think that everyone as part of NextGen can learn a lot from all of you. So thank you so much. And we hope to see all of you in future rounds of our mentorship program. I'm excited by the insight you can continue to bring to our NextGen community.
Yeah, great. Nice meeting you all.
Thanks. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
So I'll just wrap it up with anyone still around. Sign up to join our NextGen on our community website, and we have this NextGen program survey where we really want to hear feedback about what's interesting and what works and what to see more. So, thanks for coming.